Good morning, LKN. You know, Skylar, I taught you about something recently. I'm trying to educate you with all the things Lake Norman, but Normie is a huge part of it, something that you just learned about. But now you get to learn even more because we have Jason Tapp in from Spooky Charlotte, SpookyCLT on Instagram. Jason, thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So fun to have you back in the studio with us because we are celebrating Lake Norman Monster Week this week, right? Starts today.
Started on Saturday.
Oh, started on Saturday. I'm so sorry. I'm a couple days late.
I like a week that starts on a Saturday.
Yeah, I like that too. So tell us what Lake Norman Monster Week is first.
Yes. So we believe that in Lake Norman resides Normie, the Lake Norman monster. And we take a week out of every summer to educate people about it, talk about the lore, talk about the theories, and talk about the history of the lake. Similar to Shark Week on Discovery Channel. That was the inspiration.
Yeah. So, but we don't try to compete with Shark Week
Absolutely
now. No, Normie gets his own week, her own week.
Yep.
Yes, she gets her own week. All right, Skylar is new to the Normie lore. So, and all the things that go on with Lake Norman, like it was a town that was flooded, that, you know, there's still a lot of the town underneath, cemeteries and things like that. Can you help educate us on kind of the history of Lake Norman?
I will do my best.
Okay.
So
I'll fill in whatever you're missing.
Yeah. So Lake Norman is a man-made lake. It was made in around the 1960s. They created this massive lake by damming up the Catawba River to create a hydroelectric dam to power the area that we live. With that, they made all this new real estate, lakefront property. And since the lake's creation, there have been sightings of a mysterious beast that no one can seem to explain. So over the years, there have been numerous theories of what the lake monster could be. Everything from mad scientists crossbreeding fish, trying to make beefy fish to sell in the markets, and then generations later, we have long serpent-like monsters in the lake with like the heads of a horse and scales that'll cause rashes and things like that. There is the LakeNormanMonster.com where people have reported sightings, and those sightings go all the way back into the 80s, even though the website is only around created around the early 2000s. But there's dozens in there, so people
Are they friendly
Mm.
sightings or spooky sightings?
Everything. It's gone from, you know, something was chasing me while I was on, you know, out there on my pontoon boat. Something was in the wake. I remember reading one where a guy was on a jet ski and something brushed up against him that he couldn't explain. Divers have claimed to see catfish the size of small SUVs. There's something crazy going on in the lake, and that lore has created what we call the Lake Norman monster, Normie. I choose to believe that Normie is friendly.
Normie is friendly. Yeah, we're pals too.
Of course.
Yeah,
There you go.
we hang out on the weekends sometimes.
Have
This
you
weekend.
had a Normie sighting?
Oh, yes, I have had a Normie sighting. Have
Okay.
I told you my Normie
No,
sighting?
tell me about it.
Okay, so we had our boat docked right outside of Port City, which is now the Lake House, but it used to be Port City Club. This was about 5 years ago, and it was just down in the water. And the boat next to ours, not our boat, but the boat next to ours, had a hole eaten through the hull of the boat.
That's incredible.
A hole in the hull?
In the hull, yes, through the hull
That's
of
a
the
great
boat.
tongue
Had
twister.
like over the winter, it was just like eaten and eaten. And so came back for the summer. The boat was like in the water, it sunk in the water, and like what happened? I was like, it was Normie. It was Normie. I know it was Normie.
Absolutely.
Everybody else tried to say it was a muskrat, but I know that it was Normie. I know it was.
Yes.
And Normie kept my boat safe because we're
he
friends.
knew.
Yes,
Or she
we're
knew.
friends.
Yeah.
And also then we got boat lifts for the next summer.
Yes. Not taking a chance.
We're snacking on the
Normie
boats,
might get
Normie.
hungry.
Yeah, but that's my Normie sighting. I said it was definitely it. And then I would just see like ripples through the water around that same arena
Yeah.
all the time. I knew it was just Normie coming to say hi. Also, if you're swimming in the lake and you get a little, tickle on your foot, it's just Normie saying hi. So don't be scared.
That's it.
Don't be scared to swim in the water.
There are crazy fish in Lake Norman, though.
Yes.
You can't find catfish. You can't find gar. And if you are unfamiliar with what those fish look like, especially if they're a little bit bigger than you're typically used to seeing fish, then it could freak you
It
out.
could be a false alarm for Normie.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Normie is very friendly, I like to think, too. We had Amy on the show a couple months ago who wrote the book, Normie, the Lake Norman Monster. But you guys have a really fun event coming up, too, this weekend, right?
Yes.
That's the end of Lake Norman Monster Week. It ends on Saturday as well.
Absolutely. So this is the 5th year of doing Lake Norman Monster Week. And typically I like to end the week with an in-person event. So we have 2 events going on. One is the Lake Norman Monster Believers Meetup Group. That's going to be happening on August 2nd at 7 o'clock at Crazy Cool Collectibles. That's a Saturday. And then there's also the Lake Norman Monster Non-Believers Club meetup, which is happening.
Who's going to admit to that one,
Right.
Jason?
Yeah.
Well, that's also happening August 2nd at 7 o'clock
there
at
you
Crazy
go.
Cool
Rival events.
Collectibles.
Rival
Yes, at
events.
the same place. The idea
No
is to
rumbling,
get
no fist fighting during the event.
the idea is to get everyone in the same room and have friendly
I
conversations
was going to say,
about.
do you have a debate? Do you have people present their cases?
Absolutely, that's the
I
plan.
love it.
Yeah, in a very non-formal setting.
You guys will be at Crazy Cool Collectibles on Saturday at what time did you say?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Okay, great.
We'll have food trucks. There is a bigger event going on Main Street, Morrisville. So if you are in the area, come stop by and talk about Normie with us.
Yeah, lots going on this weekend in downtown Mooresville. The Festival of Food Trucks, 38 Specialists playing as well.
Incredible.
So great event to go stop by, go back Crazy Cool Collectibles, talk with Jason about Normie. Look, I still have, now I do believe, but I still have my coaster from last year's meetup.
Incredible.
Because all the ones that said I do believe got taken too fast.
Oh.
Yeah, they got taken. So I don't believe
that's
it's
the
the
truth.
one.
People believe
Normie.
more than they don't believe.
I think so too. I think so too. Do you have a favorite Normie sighting story that you've heard over the years?
Yeah,
or
like what made you get connected to the group?
I don't have a favorite. I'm just curious about all of it. But my favorite theory is the one that Captain Gus, R.I.P., that he used to spread on his boat tours about the mad scientists and the fishermen crossbreeding of fish. And now we have Normie, which means that it's not just one. It means it's a whole species that we don't understand.
a whole family of
Oh.
normies.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I prefer that.
You like that theory as
explanation.
well. All right. What else do you do with Spooky Charlotte? You don't just pop up here to Lake Norman for 1 week.
Only one a year.
One a year. No, you do other things with Spooky Charlotte. So what else can people find if they follow you?
Yep. So follow me on Instagram at SpookyCLT, and all year round I'm talking about ghost story and folklore of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County. Everything about paranormal sightings, folklore like cryptids such as Normie, cat owls, Wampus cat, things like that, as well as just talking about dark history. This area is so historic. It's so interesting. Just the different stories that have happened over the years. And I'm trying to shed light on that in a fun and spooky way for people.
One of my favorite stories of yours is about the guy that ran over the dam in Lake Norman. Is that right there at the dam? Yes.
General William Lee Davidson.
Yes, I love that story.
Yeah.
Can you tell that one real quick?
Well, yeah. So this area, it goes back to the Revolutionary area. There was the Battle of Cowlitz
The dam wasn't there,
Ford.
by the way, but that's
Yeah.
just the area. Well, like
The
if you go and
timeline's
you,
tracking.
you see
Yeah.
the sign. Yes.
Yeah. Battle of Cowlitz Ford happens on the Catawba River, which is where Lake Norman was. A ford is just a crossing, and he was the first casualty on the American side by the British. He was shot. He was the first person to die in the battle. And then after he passed and the British stole his body, 3 of his men actually stole it back after the battle and buried him at Hopewell Presbyterian Church Cemetery, which is on Beatty's Ford. And now every year around the February 1st, which is when the battle happens, people do still claim to see him walking horseback as a ghostly specter on Beatty's Ford, typically in the direction of the lake, because not only is that where the battle happened, but there was also the Davidson Plantation, which was buried by the lake when it was created. So the ghost has a personal connection with the lake and still haunts the area.
Yeah, I've heard those stories before too.
Oh,
yeah, even before I knew
interesting.
Jason. Yeah, I'd heard those stories. You got any other fun facts about Charlotte or the area?
Well, I always just like to make sure that people know that Lake Norman was a town before it was buried. So underneath the lake, you can still find structures from that time. There was mills the equipment is still down there, buses, planes, bridges. Cemeteries were allegedly moved, 13 of them, but we definitely know there was more. So things were flooded and forgotten underneath the lake. And when you're out there drinking and having fun, keep that in mind that you could be going over someone else's
is that
property.
like how much distance is there between the top of the city and like the top of the lake?
We've got some distance. Yeah, we got a few hundred feet in some of the
Okay.
places. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about maybe like
Hitting something.
swimming up against it or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're safe there, right, Jason?
You're safe.
You're safe
They did
there.
it very intentionally, but there's aerial footage where you can still see the outlines of a lot of these structures, and a lot of the fishermen still see them on the sonar of their boats, which is cool.
And the divers too can see them sometimes too if they go down far enough. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, Jason, thank you so much for joining us. So come hang out with Jason, believers and non-believers, on Saturday, August the 2nd at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Crazy cool collectibles
Yes.
and see all the things going on in downtown Mooresville and follow Spooky Charlotte CLT on Instagram.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jason, for coming in today.
Thanks for
We'll be
having
right
me.
back.